What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Gerald Moore Jr. Show. And I got a doozy for y'all. March 2026, and shit been going crazy. You know what I mean? It's just, that's all I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, you know it's been insanity. But we got a lot to cover today. We got college sports money. We got a war that nobody asked for. Gas prices going through the fucking roof. Ohio politics that impact every single one of us. Buckle up. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? We got to know what's going on, and as a former Division One athlete, I love talking about college sports because again, we're living in a day and age where name, image, and likeness is the main topic of discussion. The transfer portal. Obviously, everybody has their opinion, and so I'm gonna give mine. You know what I mean? As a former Division One All American athlete, I knew we should have been getting paid. I saw the money that was being made. Obviously, they put you on banners, they put you on advertisements, tickets. You're calling boosters to raise money. You don't get no commission. The athletic directors are getting paid and building their careers. The coaches are getting paid and building their careers. They're also able to do their own Nike deals, book deals. They can host camps, clinics. They could do whatever they want. But the players couldn't do anything, right? You just had to be thankful for your scholarship. And so again, this is important when you talk socioeconomics. You talk, well, a lot of the black athletes, again, their families weren't able to go to college. Maybe a lot of them were the first people in their families to go to college. And again, to a lot of people, college is having a higher education is a way to earn a higher income. But a lot of times, what we also don't talk about is like some of these kids that come from well-off families whose parents own companies, where the kid can graduate college and then go work for the family business, right? A lot of black families aren't built that way. And so you have a lot of athletes coming from single parent households, or a lot of athletes coming from, maybe a two parent household, but it's a working class household. And so the economics are very different. But now some of these athletes are coming into college as high recruits and, garnering hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars through NIL, through the collectives. And obviously, a lot of people have a lot of issues with that because now a lot of athletes, they're transferring to other schools who are willing to give them more money. If a kid has a great game, he's asking for more money. But obviously, this is the landscape that the NCAA has created, these college conferences have created, and the United States has created. Because for a long time, athletes have been saying college sports and college athletes deserve to be getting paid, but the NCAA, carried on the amateurism clause for a long time. So we will dive deeper into that as I continue to show. Then next we got the war. Right now we are essentially in World War III with, it's Israel and the United States versus Iran. Um, Israel basically told United States what we wanted, what they wanted, right? Like, so that's been, we've lost some military members. Unfortunately, there was one from Columbus, Ohio, a young brother who was a part of that plane crash, refueling plane crash. So definitely prayers to his family, healing energy to his family and all the other service members that are lost. All of the other people in these other countries, man. Um, Iran, Gaza, the whole Middle East, Africa, Free Congo. There's just a lot going on. And as a United States citizen, as an American, I'm not one to sit here and be like, I know everything that's going on, but I also think it's very ignorant of us to not be aware and conscious of what's happening around us and what our country is doing. Obviously, our country does a great job of not exposing us to a lot of what's going on in the world, right? Through our media only shows us, the fluff, right? Our media is really built around entertainment, and keeping people entertained, not informed. So, lately I've definitely been trying to follow more news outlets that cover more global issues like Al Jazeera. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I think it's important that we know and understand what's going on around us and not just try to get all of our news and information from, Threads or TikTok or Facebook or X, Instagram, NBC, Fox News. I don't know if you're black and you're watching Fox News, but CBS, CNN. So I try to get a good breadth of news, but obviously this war is causing gas prices to go up. I know around me, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Gas prices was at about 3.49 last week. I just saw it today. It looked like it was at 3.37. Diesel's pretty high as well. Diesel is up to about $5, I think. So obviously, this war is, creating a lot of catastrophe and casualties. It's also a distraction from the Epstein files, which have been going crazy. Which again is it hits close to home because I'm in Columbus, Ohio. So Les Wexner, who was named as a co-conspirator and was the biggest funder to Jeffrey Epstein. So that's been a whole, crazy mess to kind of connect those dots in that web. Which again, it's all connected, right? Israel, lobbyist money, APAC money, surveillance. It's it's all connected. We talked about the gas prices, Ohio politics. So again, something I've been following really close for the last few years is cannabis policy in Ohio. We voted for adult use recreational. We also have medicinal. And we voted to regulate marijuana, cannabis like alcohol, which essentially stated that pretty much anything you can do with alcohol, we wanted you to be able to do with cannabis. So that was public consumption. We have doors where you can go from bar to bar downtown, open container without it being a problem. So we wanted that for cannabis to be able to consume publicly. We also voted for craft grow, tier 3 grows, where people could grow smaller batches and sell that to the dispensaries, and then the dispensaries could distribute it. We also voted for social equity and community funds, that a percentage of the tax revenue will go to communities most harmed by the war on drugs and prohibition. We voted for a few other things, and so it's been one of those issues in our state that our politicians have been completely against. And so in Ohio, we passed a citizens initiated statute, which basically meant that our politicians could come in and change it if they wanted to. Um, a constitutional amendment is what we need to pass, so the politicians can't change anything. And so essentially, we are run by a gerrymandered Republican. We're a gerrymandered Republican state, Republican governor, heavy Republican state representatives and state senators. And so essentially, the politicians work to gut issue 2. And so that law is Senate Bill 56, which goes into law March 20th, which is a couple days away, a few days away. It's March 5th, 16th. And so at the end of the week, that law will go into effect. There have been folks collecting signatures for a referendum to pause that law. And to get the referendum on the ballot, they need over 240,000 signatures, valid signatures. So they said it's upward of 400,000 signatures they'll probably end up needing to collect to get all of those signatures. So again, what happens March 20th? So SB 56 will go into law if they don't get the signatures, and SB 56 added criminal penalties and fines to basic cannabis possession. So if you are traveling in your car with cannabis and it is not in a original container or package from an Ohio dispensary, that is technically breaking the law. If you don't have if the cannabis is not stored in the trunk of the car, if you don't have a trunk, it has to be in the furthest part of the car. Those are all punishable offenses now. Discrimination is allowed back into the play with the police. If the police suspect you of being a cannabis consumer, they can then, essentially interrogate you. If you have been consuming in your apartment or whatever, a landlord can evict you. Employers can now, drug test you randomly. If you fail and they fire you, you won't qualify for your unemployment benefits. Healthcare industry can now discriminate against you if you consume cannabis and you're up for a organ transplant. They can deny you the organ transplant. SB 56 also guts the Cannabis Social Equity Fund and Community Fund, which again, those resources were slated to go towards communities most harmed by the war on drugs. Over the last 60 years, black and brown communities have been harmed by the war on drugs, which was essentially a targeted effort in our communities, which again was leveraged through cannabis. So yeah, they've basically gutted the entire cannabis bill that we passed. They also said no combustion, public consumption. Also, if you consume in your car, even if it's parked, even if it's not on, that is illegal. And so, again, this is very bad. You know what I mean? Especially for low income, working class communities who don't own homes, who don't have a place to consume cannabis. They're already struggling to afford the rent and just basic necessities in the state. So I don't think that's good, And there's a lot of other issues that are going on right now. Obviously, we also have a big governor's race going on right now coming up. So Vivek Ramaswamy versus Amy Acton. Don't know much about either of these candidates for real. Vivek is a billionaire Indian guy, and then Amy Acton is a doctor. She got a lot of attention during COVID, so we shall see what goes on there. All right, so in our first segment, man, we're gonna talk about name, image, and likeness. Follow the money, man. The setup, where we are right now. So on March 6th, Trump hosted the Saving College Sports Roundtable at the White House. Nick Saban, NCAA President Charlie Baker, conference commissioners, Fox Sports, and ESPN executives were in the room, but no student athletes were invited to the meeting that supposedly was about student athletes. Trump promised an executive order within a week to fix the mess. The order restricts pay to play but does not cap third-party NIL deals. The College Sports Commission has cleared over $166.5 million in NIL deals since launching in June 2025, but the system is now under strain from a surge of schools linked manufactured NIL deals designed to get around the House versus NCAA revenue share cap. Nick Saban, hero, hypocrite, or both? Nick Saban's argument: players are making decisions based on the biggest immediate payday instead of their long-term development. He wants a structured revenue sharing system with authentic NIL. The backlash: Nick Saban made over $150 million as a college coach. His players were making tens of thousands while he made millions. He also retired the moment NIL leveled the playing field. His defenders, including former player Clinton Dix, says he never opposed paying players, just opposed chaos without guardrails. So is Nick Saban right about chaos, even if his credibility is compromised? Can you agree with the message and question the messenger? So again, this is my thing. Like, Nick Saban, and sports is one of those things. Like, most people start out on the bottom, right? Like, you got to work your way up. Which again, I think in any system, right? Like in any system, the cream is always going to rise to the top, right? So no matter how many guys you have transferring, going to get the bigger bag, the shit, it always end up panning out, right? Like, if a guy requests this amount of money and he decide to go over here and then he don't pan out, and that is what it is. That's the cost of doing business, right? A lot of these business dudes make business decisions all the time to do a product launch or to do this, spend this amount of money on a commercial or ad, and it don't work out, right? And so again, this has always kind of been college sports anyway. Um, I think there does have to be some type of like transfer, like you can only transfer like 3 times, twice. I mean, I don't even know, like, cause how you gonna tell somebody like you can't go somewhere else? You know what I mean? Like that's what's really crazy about this situation. Like, how you gonna stop somebody from going somewhere else? And the thing is, like, the coaches do it all the time. Like, the coaches will sit there and recruit a whole class, go to the bowl game, and be out after the bowl game because he done accepted a $50 million deal. But we got to but the players can't do it. The coaches could go from team to team to team to team to team. The AD could jump from team to team to team. Like, they be wearing one shirt the one day, the next day they in a whole nother uniform. No, talk about loyalty, brand loyalty, and none of these niggas ain't hitting nobody. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what's, like, I'm all for the players at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Go get your bag, young man. Go get your bag. Because, again, everybody in it for the bag anyway. What have we conditioned our kids the last, I know me, nigga, go get the bag. Niggas is not going to be professionals for nothing else but the bag. Everybody say, oh, I want to be a doctor to help people. No, you think doctors make a lot of money. Oh, I want to be a lawyer to help people. No, you know lawyers make a lot of money. I want to be a businessman because I know businessmen make a lot of money. I want to be in finance. I want to play sports because niggas is making a lot of money. So again, that's, you know, but yeah, what niggas say, even at the end of the day, bro, like, they just want to control niggas. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, the shit going, if you NBA G League coming back down, I think that's a little crazy. Now, they did bring that up. Somebody was in the G League, NBA, and then came back down to college sports. That's a little diabolical right there. You know what I mean? Like, but again, I think college sports is pro sports. You know what I mean? Like, you have guys, like, I mean, just think about it. How many guys from high school used to go from high school straight to the league? You got some niggas in football too. Like, a lot of niggas, you know, football is a different sport. But you got some motherfuckers that be 21 years old, 24 years old. Like, I played with niggas that was 20, 23, 24. I was 23 when I finished. So it's, you know, it's gonna be interesting to see. But I was calling this shit when I was playing, you know, and I played 2008 to 2012, 2013. And I was like, yo, we should be getting paid. And it was like, nah, you shouldn't. You got the scholarship. What you need, why you need more? Nigga, what are you talking about? This is America. Why are we telling niggas they shouldn't be making money for being good at what they're good at? Now, how you gonna tell me as an athlete, oh, you one of the best athletes in the world, one of the best athletes in the country as a Division I athlete, but you don't deserve to get paid? But everybody know who number 13 is. You go to the stadium packed, 30,000, 60,000, 100,000. You on TV, ESPN. They running ads and shit. Oh, TV timeout. It's banners all around the stadium, advertisements, marketing. Niggas buying Coca-Cola for $10. You buying Bud Light for $12. Popcorn for $7. A hot dog for $4. Pizza. An oversalted pretzel. The tickets was $40 to $100, $200. The t-shirts, the overpriced merchandise. Come on, bruh. But the players can't get paid. But the players, like, niggas want a sports bet on the players. And then you mess up on the bet. And now the nigga, you a bitch ass nigga because you lost me some money. So it's wild to me. You know what I mean? And I'm for the players, man. And I mean, I advocate for players being more engaged politically. I think we need more. I think players need more support in all those spaces, man. Because again, a lot of the schools aren't providing these athletes with that much resources. Like outside of performing, academically and athletic, they're not providing you with the business of politics or what's going on outside of the school. Like anything you do extra, that's going to be on you. You know what I mean? The school is only going to bring so much stuff to you. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see, what's gonna happen. Trump said he's going to do an executive order. I don't know what that looks like. He also was like, "Yo, I think I need Congress. This is a bipartisan issue, but Trump gonna do what Trump gonna do." But I also think this is an opportunity for entrepreneurs, creatives. I like the OTE concept on the basketball side of things. I think basketball is a little bit more easier, and some of the other sports are easier to do things like that outside of football. Football's still struggling with like 7-on-7 in certain spaces. So I know in Ohio they're trying to roll back NIL for high school athletes, even though somebody just sued. So yeah, it's definitely something that I'm gonna keep my eyes on. So you got the portal has created roster instability. Players are chasing money every season. Schools are signing binding revenue sharing contracts, and when players try to leave anyway, like University of Wisconsin QB Desmond Williams, who reportedly signed a $4 million deal and then entered the portal days later. See, this shit's crazy. They're threatening lawsuits. It's crazy. Niggas is crazy, man. Niggas is getting that back. Nebraska players are challenging $1 million plus and rejected NIL deals through a CSC's new arbitration process, first major test of the system. The SCORE Act, a bill to create federal NIL standards, failed at congressional vote in December due to bipartisan opposition and GOP defections. Congress is trying again. The bigger picture, college sports are being run like a business while pretending to be an educational endeavor. The athletes generating the billions are the last ones at the table when the decisions get made. That's not new, but the scale of the money makes it impossible to ignore now. Should college athletes be classified as employees? Is this a labor rights issue being dressed up as sports cameras? I'm going to say yeah. Because as an athlete, bro, like when you walking on campus, a professor because they dressed up a certain type of way and they just look a little bit older. Everybody know the athlete. So, nigga, you are a walking billboard, my nigga. Like, everywhere you go, you got your football shit on. Like, you around this town. You in a college town, bro. You the biggest nigga in the town. You more popular than everybody. Niggas know you before they know the AD, before they know the coach, before they know the assistant coaches, before they know the president of the university, before they know the fucking professors. Nigga, you an employee, bro. I'm just saying you an employee, bro. They got to. And this is a labor rights issue. Because at the end of the day, don't show up to one of them weightlifting sessions, my nigga. Don't show up to a weightlifting session. Be late to film study. Be late to practice. Do something wrong, nigga. You out of there. They cursing you out, nigga. Like, and part of the issue too, like, nigga, you get niggas don't know how diabolical it is to play college sports, bro. Like, them niggas treat you like motherfucker. What? You know how many lawsuits will go on because coaches be saying crazy shit to these players, bro? I done seen players almost fight coaches. It's niggas fight. Like, what? College football is diabolical. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely keep following this because it's something that I'm definitely interested in. So then the war in Iran, what you need to know. What happened on February 28th, 2026? The United States and Israel launched joint airstrikes on Iran, codenamed Operation Epic Fury. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed in the opening strikes. Iran responded with hundreds of drones and ballistic missiles targeting Israel, U.S. military bases across the Gulf, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Turkey, and oil infrastructures. As of today, over 1,400 plus civilians have been killed in Iran, 3.2 million people displaced, and 18,000 plus injured per Iran's health ministry. Iran's new supreme leader, I don't know, Mojahaba Khamenei, the son of the assassinated Ali Khamenei, vowed continued attacks unless U.S. forces leave the region. Why does it matter to to everyday people? The Strait of Hormuz, through which roughly 20% of global oil's flow, is under serious threat. Iran has disrupted shipping, fired on tankers, and threatened to mine the strait. Gas prices have surged nearly 60 cents in 1 week. As of early March, the national average hit $3.67 as of March 14th. There is no congressional authorization over this war. Over 250 organizations have signed a letter calling on Congress to halt funding. Christianity, conscience, and war. This is a segment to get real. If you are a person of faith, and many in this community are, this war should be raising hard questions. Over 1,400 Iranian civilians dead, including children. Obviously, there's been a big issue about the bombing of a school, which is said to be done by the United States. Residential neighborhoods in Tehran, Shiraz, and Isfahan destroyed. The Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers. And we are not the peacemakers right now in America. How do people who claim Christian values reconcile support for military action that has killed thousands of civilians and displaced millions? This isn't a political cheap shot. It's a sincere theological question, and it deserves a sincere answer. Where does your faith put you on this, and what does it mean to support Israel as a biblical mandate while grappling with the civilian death toll in Iran? So for me personally, man, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I don't think as the United States we should be funneling all of this taxpayer dollars to Israel. They have full health care while we have folks in our country struggling for health care, food, jobs, housing. I don't agree with this war. I believe it's unjustified. I don't believe that, Christians, and I don't believe this being a religious war. You know what I mean? It's unprovoked at this point in time. You know what I mean? Netanyahu clearly owns America, and AIPAC clearly owns America, and our Congress, and, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, they can call you anti-Semitic, they gonna call you whatever, but I think it's a bunch of bullshit. We're gonna move on to the Ohio governor's race. Republican primary Vivek Ramaswamy is the front runner endorsed by Trump, Elon Musk, and LaRose, with running mate Ohio Senator Rob McCauley, Heather Hill, and Casey Puchix. Also in the primary, Democratic candidate Dr. Amy Acton, former Ohio health director who led the state's COVID response. She's running with David Pepper, former Ohio Democratic Republic Party chair, as her running mate. The general election is set for November 3rd, 2026. The primary is May 5th, 2026. The polling right now, Emerson poll, December 2025. Acton is at 46%, Ramaswamy's at 45%, essentially tied, a 7-point swing towards Amy Acton, since August. Democrats haven't won a governor's race in Ohio since 2006. This is their best shot in 2 decades. Why this matters for cannabis equity. So the next governor will oversee how Ohio's cannabis market evolves, whether social equity programs get funded or gutted, and how the state responds to the November 2026 SB 56 referendum. Where do Ramaswamy and Acton stand on cannabis reform, on expungement, on social equity licensing? These are questions our community needs answered before May. This is a winnable race for Democrats. And what should the cannabis community be demanding from both candidates before they get our vote? So what SB 56 did? Signed into law by Governor DeWine in December 2025, SB 56 made sweeping changes to the voter-approved Issue 2 legalization from 2023. The Cannabis Social Equity and Jobs Program, voted for by 57% of Ohioans, was repealed entirely. The 36% of excise tax revenue meant for social equity, the 25% for substance abuse treatment and education, both redirected into the general fund. Home grow, it stays at 12. THC limits was lowered. Public smoking banned outright. Expungement provisions included, but no funding to help people actually navigate the process, meaning access still depends on whether you can afford an attorney. The referendum fight, Ohioans for Cannabis Choice is pushing a citizens referendum to put SB 56 repeals on November 2026 ballot. They need 248,092 valid signatures by March 20th. AG Dave Yost initially rejected that petition language and said it was misleading. After resubmission, the AG certified the revised language and signature collection began. This is now a race against the clock. March 20th is right around the clock. Right around the corner, I'm talking. The bigger argument, Ohio voters approved Issue 2 with a clear mandate: legalize cannabis and repair the harm done by the war on drugs. SB 56 kept the legalization and threw out the repair. That's not a compromise, that's betrayal. The people who went to prison for the plant are still waiting. The communities that were over-policed are still waiting. And the legislature took the money earmarked for them and put it in the general fund. Meanwhile, MSOs are opening new locations. Private equity is counting returns. And the social equity on most expensive websites is a tab that takes you to the press release. Sign the referendum petition if you haven't. Show up to Central Ohio Cannabis Social Equity Forum April 4th in Columbus. This fight is far from over. So just to wrap up, the connective tissue between the segments: money runs everything. College sports, wars, gas prices, state legislatures. The question is always who's making the decisions and who's paying the price. In Ohio, the cannabis community has a chance to fight back. The governor's race is alive. The referendum deadline is real. The April 4th forum is coming up. Better see y'all there. Show the people what it's at stake. Give them something to do with it. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay in the fight. Make sure y'all continue to tap in. Again, I'm going to try to do some more podcasts to keep you guys in the loop on things that I'm following. If you want to share topics that you want me to cover, make sure you follow me on social media, Gerald Moore Jr. on all social media: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Threads, Instagram. So send me questions. You can direct message me. I'm looking to build a following on here. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. If you want to support me on doing podcast too, I take subscriptions and love. So I got a Cash App. You can Cash App me $G13 Ventures. Again, follow me on all social media platforms, and we out. Peace.